This is the first occasion that we will hear from Mr Máirtín Ó Muilleoir. Can I remind members that it is the convention that the maiden speech should be uncontroversial and should be heard without interruption. Mr Máirtín Ó Muilleoir.
I know that's a warning for the Minister not to interrupt. I wanted to start, as we should, and when discussing matters finance and budgets, we should start by quoting Lenin. But first of all, I want to congratulate our friends in Syriza, congratulate the Greek people, a great blow against austerity, and those of us who are battling with the austerity ideologues in London will take great heart from that, as people will across Europe. Now, on to Lenin. I know that the Minister snapped to attention, but I'm going to quote not Vladimir, but John, who said, "I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love." The Minister, more than most, knows that that's true. But money, and with money, we can set out our priorities, we can spell out our values, and that's what we have done with this budget, because this is a budget which, despite the assault on our block grant from London, this is a budget which protects the vulnerable, which builds the economy, and which underpins the peace that we have come to value. I want to say, in particular for us, that making sure that welfare cuts were not implemented as proposed by Mr Cameron and his colleagues in London was absolutely a priority. Looking after those in the margins, easing the burden on working families, making sure that those who have lost out in the economy, making sure that those people are looked after is absolutely essential. And I think that in the face of the slash and burn approach of London, this budget and looking after the vulnerable and making sure we grow the economy, the budget itself is quite a feat. Minister Hamilton's figure that he has used while addressing committee for the cuts from the block grant since 2011 is £1.5 billion, an absolutely staggering amount to lose from the block grant. So make no mistake that this budget and what it has achieved is a great achievement against that type of savage assault on our budgets. In this budget, we have managed to secure £204 million extra for the Department of Health. That, I think, shows our unwavering commitment to a free health service, shows our unwavering commitment to frontline health services. In relation to this blitz on welfare rights, condemned by the churches in Britain, condemned by the churches in Ireland, I think we have stood firm in our intention and conviction and resolve to protect the vulnerable. In his budget speech before Christmas, the Minister quoted JFK and Nelson Mandela, as my colleague of Tuaslo Brolahine mentioned. I want to see his JFK and Mandela and raise him at Pope Francis, because Pope Francis, I think, is a leader in the world in speaking out against inequality and for fair play and equal treatment. And Pope Francis asked the question, how can it be that it is not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, but it is news when the stock market loses 2 points? I think I speak for those of us who are in favour of this motion today and in favour of this budget when I say that we take very seriously our duty to defend those on the margins. That's why in this package and in this budget we have agreed a considerable kitty of £565 million, which will mitigate against the potential loss of benefits to individuals and families under the proposed welfare cuts. We have retained a series of anti-poverty measures and set up a supplementary payment fund to provide protection specifically to families with children, people with disabilities and those who are long-term sick. In terms of education, to the delight of teachers and parents, and all of us were lobbied in this matter, we managed to secure a £63 million uplift for the Minister of Education and for his department and for schools. In relation to Dale, the draft budget was unsatisfactory. The major parties went to work. We managed to find £33 million extra, in the hope that the Minister would focus on those elements within further and higher education which will skill up our young people and secure jobs for them. Sadly, the Minister instead has spent most of his energy attacking St Mary's University College, and instead of talking about investment, he's talking about disinvestment and tearing the heart out of West Belfast. I welcome the innovative efforts of the Minister to find money, to borrow money, to ensure that we could set up new funds. I think in particular of the shared and integrated education £500 million kitty, which I think will be very important over the next 10 years. And I also give a thumbs up to the smaller, in the small print, the Social Innovation Fund, again £5 million, solving this issue of dormant funds, releasing money that we can use for faith-based groups, for community groups, for charities, that they can borrow. I think that's a little bit of a breakthrough for us. I hope that we can engage with others to increase that kitty. I know the Minister talked about 5 million growing to 10 million, and I hope we can do that in the time ahead. Tomorrow, Mr Deputy Speaker, I put on my snow boots and go to Boston and New York and Toronto. And in those cities, I think we'll find that those who support the peace process want also to support the growth of the economy here. And I think we will find a ready ear in the diaspora if we ask them to back and support and engage, especially with the Social Innovation Fund in the time ahead. A big result for all of us in the budget was to have the devolution of corporation tax, and that gives us great potential in the time ahead as well. But the Minister is focused on growing the economy. I think there is no doubt that he realises the threat to the economy from the London Government assault on our budget and on our funds. But at the same time, I think he has ensured that our friends in Invest NI have the firepower to continue to create jobs in the time ahead. In relation to the efforts to rebalance our economy, we state again today that a voluntary redundancy scheme should not diminish, should not damage the public services, the frontline services. We will guarantee that and stand by that. There will be no compulsory redundancies on our watch, and we will make sure that as we emerge and we start to grow this economy, that we emerge stronger in the time ahead. None of us got all we wanted in this budget, Mr Deputy Speaker, but for those who criticise it, they come up with no alternative of any type at all. I wanted to finish by asking my friend Mr Raymond McCartney, to sing us out with Money Can't Buy Me Love, but Mr McCartney isn't here. So instead of that, I want to pay tribute to the small business owners who form the spine of our economy. I want to thank them for creating jobs, for growing wealth, and I want to send out the message today that now, as we start our recovery, now is the time to invest, to build, and in particular, now is the time to employ. Thank you.